Iya. Iya.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin, so please kindly take your seats. Please rise to welcome the President of the Republic of Seychelles, Mr. Wavel Ramkalawan. Welcome, Mr. President. Please be seated. President of the Republic of Seychelles, Mr. Wavel Ramkalawan. Vice President of the Republic of Seychelles, Mr. Ahmed Afif. Minister for Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, Mrs. Devika Vidot. Ministers, UNDP Regional Representative for Mauritius and Seychelles, Ms. Amanda Serumaga. Leader of Government Business in the National Assembly, Mr. Bernard Georges. Excellencies, representatives of officers of international organizations, members of the Advisory Committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, a very good afternoon to you all. Welcome to the launching of the Seychelles Sustainable Development Goals Investor Map. We do appreciate you taking time off your busy schedules to be here today. My name is Terence, and I will be your MC for this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are grateful that each and every one of us are blessed with health and happiness. Despite the impressive gains in many aspects of the economy, Seychelles remains susceptible to several development challenges which may hamper progress towards the achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals and the National Vision 2033 objectives to build a diversified and resilient economy. The Seychelles government, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, have developed and will today be launching the Seychelles SDG Investor Map, with a vision to put these doubts to rest. This innovative market intelligence tool will help direct domestic and foreign private capital investment opportunities at the intersection of national sustainable development needs, government policy priority areas, and viable business models. It is important to mention that the completion of the investor map was the result of the inclusive and thorough consultative process involving both the public and private sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, our short and sweet program for today will be graced by our esteemed speakers comprising of the United Nations Development Programme Regional Representative, Ms. Amanda Serumaga, the Minister for Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, Mrs. Devika Vidot, the Chairman of the Seychelles Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Oliver Bastien, and also our guest of honor, the President of the Republic of Seychelles, Mr. Wavel Ramkalawan, who will also officially launch the Seychelles SDG Investor Map. And now, to formally kick off our event this afternoon, it's my pleasure to invite the UNDP Regional Representative, Ms. Amanda Serumaga, to deliver her opening remarks. Ms. Serumaga has more than 25 years development practice experience in public policy and management, governance, the rule of law. I do apologize. The rule of law, and also, I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Too many, yes, exactly. Okay. Let me find my keywords there. Okay. Mr. Rumaga has more than 25 years development practice experience in public policy and management, governance, the rule of law, environment, and natural resource management. She has served as the UNDP resident representative for Mauritius and Seychelles since May 2019. She has also served in the United Nations Development Programme since 2008 and worked previously in leadership positions in Sudan, South Sudan, Kenya, and UNDP headquarters in New York. She also holds a Juris Doctor from Canada, an MSc in Public Policy Management from the UK, a Bachelor of Arts with honors in the Humanities in English Language and Literature from Canada. She is also a barrister and solicitor and has been a member of the Law Society of Ontario since 1996. Mr. Rumaga, the floor is yours.
President of the Republic of the Seychelles, Mr. Wavel Ramkalawan, Vice President of the Republic of the Seychelles, Mr. Ahmed Afif, Minister of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, Mrs. Davika Vidot, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Leader of Government Business in the National Assembly, Mr. Bernard Georges, Excellencies, representatives of offices of international organizations, members of the Advisory Committee, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol is observed. On behalf of the United Nations Programme, I'm especially honored and pleased to welcome you to the launch of the Seychelles SDG Investor Map. This platform is larger, and it's a part of a series of initiatives supported by the UNDP as part of the United Nations, aimed at establishing comprehensive mechanisms for financing the Sustainable Development Goals. The 2030 Agenda goes beyond the scope of a single UN agency or government. It represents a shared responsibility, and undoubtedly, the attainment of sustainable development requires collaboration. This fundamental principle has guided the formulation of this particular SDG Investor Map. Financing of the SDGs requires securing and the prioritized allocation of resources. We know that the cost of achieving the SDGs is estimated at $3.7 trillion US, and yet, bridging this financial gap requires redirecting less than 1% of the $382 trillion that currently exists in the global financial market. We also know that approximately 80% of global finance is concentrated in high-income countries, while less than 3% of sustainable investments are allocated to the global south, which is the region most in need of sustainable financing. Acknowledging the potential for accessing global finance, the UNDP is assisting countries to present investment opportunities. This entails reshaping investors' perspectives on risk and opportunity within their financial decision-making processes. We have so far collaborated with 34 countries. Our aim is to bridge the information gap and highlight existing and potential investment prospects in sustainable financing. Today, I'm proud to say Seychelles joins 10 other African nations in showcasing 167 investment opportunity areas that address national sustainable development requirements underpinned by supportive policy environments. The Seychelles Investor Map is a significant milestone in several ways. First, it positions Seychelles as only the third small island developing state to join the global UNDP SDG Investor Map platform. Second, and no less important, Seychelles becomes one of the pioneering countries to endorse the platform at the cabinet level, demonstrating the highest political commitment and reaffirmation of a country's pursuit of sustainable development. Our gathering today also recognizes the pivotal role of the private sector in achieving the SDGs. To thrive, the private sectors must navigate at least two critical dynamics. One is the evolving demands of the new generation of consumers who increasingly expect the private sector to act in the interest of sustainability. And another is the emergence of a new generation of global private sector actors who are dedicated to pooling financing and forging partnerships with counterparts in the global south, where the business models align with sustainable development principles. It's our hope that the private sector in Seychelles will perceive this map not merely as a source of incoming competition, but rather as a promising opportunity to mobilize resources and technology, expand their businesses, and tap into emerging markets, including those within the African Continental Free Market Area. Mr. President, I would like to emphasize the UNDP's commitment to share the tools and knowledge derived from our extensive development practice with the Seychelles government and the private sector. Our aim is to support the transformation of these opportunities into tangible actions. We collaborate with the private sector in various countries to enhance their capacities for impactful business operations, and additionally we strive to create a robust pipeline of investments that can attract partners from the global north while promoting collaboration between governments and their private sectors to promote an enabling investment ecosystem. It's important to note that our commitment extends also to ensuring that businesses promote equal benefits for all individuals. And I would be remiss if I didn't emphasize the inclusion of women who face a significant and specific barriers in business, men and of course vulnerable citizens. Our overall objective is of course to ensure that no one is left behind in the pursuit of sustainable development. Allow me to briefly draw your attention to the emerging IOAs, which will be highlighted for their potential for development impact once the policy or regulatory gaps are addressed, including in the context of the National Development Strategy. Today's event aligns with our ongoing partnership with the Government of Seychelles for innovative and sustainable financing. Working, for example, with the Ministerial of Finance, we're concluding a development finance assessment examining past and projected financing trends. Furthermore, we've mobilized technical and financial support to strengthen capacities in SDG-aligned domestic resource mobilization. Through our collaboration with our colleagues at the OECD and the Government of India under the Tax Inspectors Without Borders initiative, we're also assisting the Seychelles Revenue Commission to undertake transfer pricing audits, which is expected to increase in profit tax revenue generated from international companies. Thank you, Mr. President, and your Cabinet for endorsing what has been a collaborative effort to deliver an SDG Investor Map for initiating early engagement with citizens about the opportunities it presents. Allow me to also acknowledge the immense commitment of Minister Davika Vidot from the onset of this process in 2022. Her leadership and the dedication of her entire team at the Ministry of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry has been remarkable. I must acknowledge the efforts also of the Seychelles Investment Board and Interagency Advisory Committee, which included senior members from both the public and private sectors. Their leadership in conceptualizing and guiding the preparation from start to finish was also commendable. I must also thank all the participants from the public and the private sectors, many of whom we see in this room, who were much part of the consultative process. Lastly, allow me to thank the UNDP team that has worked very hard, not only for today, but in procuring and developing this product over the last year. In conclusion, I must say that the UNDP has been forced to rethink how we can deliver our support with constrained financial resources in a high-income context such as the Seychelles. And in this regard, this work has been undertaken in close collaboration with our UNDP Istanbul's International Center for Private Sector Development and the African Sustainable Finance Hub, based in Pretoria. Their technical engagement has been instrumental in this partnership. Furthermore, I would like to acknowledge the UN Joint SDG Fund and Interagency Pools Mechanism for integrated policy support, for which we mobilized additional resources. UNDP remains committed to supporting the collective action that accelerates progress towards the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and I wish you all a successful launch, and I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ms. Serumaga, for highlighting Seychelles' commitment in the realization of the SDGs and the positive collaboration between Seychelles and UNDP. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker for this afternoon is the chairman of the Seychelles Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Olivier Bastien, who will deliver his intervention. Mr. Bastien has been at the helm of the SCCI since 2018. He has industry knowledge and experience in accounting systems, financial accounting, financial reporting and management. During his tenure as SCCI member, Mr. Bastien has advocated for the private sector through the SCCI to work closely with the government and other stakeholders through a partnership of mutual respect and trust. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the chairman to deliver his intervention.
President Wavel Ramkalawan, Vice President Amir Afif, Ministers, Leader of the Government Business in the National Assembly, the UNDP Resident Representative, Ambassadors, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Principals, Secretaries, CEOs, members of the Advisory Committee, members of the business community, distinguished guests, a very good afternoon to you all. Mr. President, I will try that one more time. A very good afternoon to you all. Thank you. As chairman of the SCCI and one of the private sector members on the SDG Investor Map Advisory Committee, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the launch of the Investor Map, which is a tool that informs and provides an investment route to businesses to achieve what I call wonderful treasures. Now, these treasures are what we call sustainable development goals with good financial returns. The private sector should continue to build on the current momentum on maximizing wealth not only for itself, but for the Seychelles community as a whole. This is what we call investment with an impact. The UNDP-led SDG Investor Map is designed to enable Seychelles to identify impact investment and emerging priorities through local evidence-based insights. The consolidation of his insights included various stakeholders' dialogue and sectorial working groups with the private sector being involved at all stages, as you were mentioning earlier. We must, however, recognize that the tool must continue to evolve after this launch. Seychelles as a nation has much more to show than the current investment and emerging opportunities on offer in the current map, especially as we embark on the economic transformation agenda and the evolution of priorities in Seychelles that is within the current national development strategy. From the private sector's perspective, we need to be pragmatic. The critical point is, how do we now operationalize this SDG Investor Map? The SCCI and the other private sector stakeholders feel that this tool is an opportunity for the government and the private sector to work together to remove constraints in the implementation of the SDGs and private sector development. We do recognize the ongoing work by the government in various domains for private sector development. Nevertheless, there remains key constraints, some of which are long-standing and systemic. We need to unblock these constraints together. And if you permit me, I'd like to mention some of these constraints. Number one, policies and laws. We need to keep on deep diving together into policies and laws to ensure they meet the criteria of being business and investment friendly. Furthermore, the map has to facilitate inclusive private sector participation at all levels, from micro, small, medium, and large, as you were mentioning earlier. Financing costs and availability. Number two, as a country, we need to leverage new forms of financing and investments. It is important to synergize the government, the private sector, the banking and the capital markets to generate the additional financial resources needed at affordable prices. Human resources. The challenge to find talent to operationalize the map and private sector development has and will always be difficult. As we transform our markets, an aging and shrinking population, growing expectations, and new ways of working which requires specialized skills, there is a great need for a harmonized approach to the following: education, human resource development, migration, employment, and business development, a one vision for the labor market which synergize all the moving parts rather than putting them in silos. The revision of several key laws, such as the Employment Act, must promote this vision. Availability of land and facilities, a sensitive topic but a common sense one for Seychelles. The availability of land and facilities for private sector development is crucial. It is easier said than done though. But we need to find solutions, and both the private sector and government need to work hand in hand to unlock this tough constraint. Marketing and sensitization of the investor map. The need for a free and open Seychelles market is important. We must resist the inward-looking approach, but it is also equally important that we have an investor map that is marketed and sensitized towards the Seychelles private sector, and strategical intervention by FDIs when needed. Ladies and gentlemen, the SCCI believes that the SDG Investor Map will boost private sector engagement in support of sustainable investment in Seychelles. However, success depends on the solid and effective partnerships between the government, the private sector, banking and capital markets, together with the UN. The investor map changes the way we look at development, but positively. To empower the private sector to drive this impactful development, we need serious engagements about the operationalization of the map and unblocking of the constraints in private sector developments. We in the private sector, we believe that together with government, we can move forward with impactful investments to realize the SDGs with good financial returns to ensure a sustainable future for all of us and our future generations. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you also for highlighting the involvement of the private sector in the implementation of the investor map. Our next speaker is the Minister for Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, Mrs. Devika Vidot, who will give the opening address. Minister Vidot has worked in the financial services and offshore industry. Since coming into office, the Minister has paved the way to facilitate the ease of doing business in Seychelles and to also put in place a solid entrepreneurial framework across the various sectors of the economy. Additionally, she wants the private sector to take the lead and for government to be the facilitator in business development. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the Minister.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, colleague ministers, UNDP representative for Mauritius and Seychelles, Ms. Amanda, leader of government business in the National Assembly, Mr. George, excellencies, representatives of offices of international organizations, members of the advisory committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. I'm not sure if it's afternoon or evening. Let me start by thanking you all for your presence at this event, which marks a milestone in the investment landscape for us, and welcome to the launch of the SDG Investor Map. Much of what I'd like to say has already been said, so please allow me to take you through a moment of reflection on the underlying reason as to why we are all here today And I think the primary reason is for us to support our country. We're here to support Seychelles. That's the fundamental of it all. The pride that I hold for my country is beyond measure. I'm proud of its natural beauty. I'm proud and so grateful for its unique geographical location that not only shelters us from natural disasters, but also somehow provides us with a strategic position to do business. And most of all, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud of its people and the rich culture that it has. An intelligent nation, resilient in the face of adversities, a people so talented, tolerant, hospitable, and have been excellent at fostering a culture which has welcomed thousands of strangers to our shores, nurtured them, and made them feel at home. It is no wonder that many long to make this beautiful country their own home. And that is why I tend to think of Seychelles as a natural magnet, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me. A land so blessed with albeit limited resources, but perfectly capable of attracting visitors and investors alike on its own. You may wonder then, why is it that we need a document to tell us where the opportunities lie when the opportunities are everywhere? The reality remains, you see, that despite living in a land of opportunities, guidance is needed to ensure that the limited resources that we have are being directed to the most impactful endeavors. And I cannot stress enough on how, as a small island nation, we need to be deriving the maximum value from our treasured resources. Ladies and gentlemen, the Investor Map provides us with the opportunity to maintain a coordinated approach to provide clear guidance in regards to where our resources need to be allocated, in terms of how we do business, where we do business, and all with the aim of driving targeted economic growth. For those of you who are fans of Formula One racing, you must know that even the best model of McLaren with high-performance engine, high-tech design, tires, body, without a solid driver would struggle to win races. And this is how I illustrate the importance of government's role to the Investor Map. You can say that we are in the driving seat, pun intended, of operationalizing the Investor Map. As the government commits to mapping out the investment opportunities and supporting them with appropriate policies and framework, make no mistake that it will remain the role and the responsibility of the private sector to capitalize on these evolving opportunities. Therefore, we count on your full support to bring innovative ideas and make quality investments in the right sectors so as to bring the desired change that our country so much needs. Working on this project has already helped us to build a strong partnership with you, and we will continue under the leadership of the Ministry. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the members of the Advisory Committee. The committee comprises mainly of private sector representatives, and we're very proud of that. We're very proud of the work that we have been able to do together. I'd like to thank the other private sector representatives who have also been part of the consultative process for your invaluable contributions. Thank you very much. Please rest assured that the government will take advantage of the momentum that we have gathered, Mr. Bastien, and we will establish formal engagement structures to find solutions to overcome forthcoming challenges. Before I end, I'd like to also thank all members of my team. Special thanks to the UNDP team led by Ms. Amanda, Tony, and the rest of the team. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for your commitment, for your diligence in the work that we have done, and for bringing us to the event that we're at today. So before I end, I turn again to the private sector, and I call upon you, and I urge you to take advantage of the opportunities that are being offered. And I'll now invite you to watch the next video in which you would see we will be showcasing some of the opportunities that have been identified. And I hope that you will enjoy it thoroughly. I thank you for your attention.
Known for its beautiful natural setting and vibrant Creole culture, Seychelles is one of the most attractive destinations in the world. Owing to the impressive and bold structural reforms implemented in the past decade, the island nation has transformed into the most prosperous nation in sub-Saharan Africa since 2015. Ideally located in the Indian Ocean, Seychelles is an international trade gateway between Africa and Asia. In addition to its impressive exclusive economic zone, which presents abundant prospects in the blue economy sector, the country has established an appealing investment environment that offers diverse business opportunities in both conventional and emerging sectors. The Government of Seychelles acknowledges the crucial role of the Strategy 2024 to 2028 and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. To facilitate private sector investment in these goals, it has collaborated with the United Nations Development Programme to develop the Seychelles SDG Investor Map. Through this innovative market intelligence tool, 5 priority sectors have been identified to guide private investors towards impactful investment opportunities that can drive positive change while generating returns. These sectors are renewable resources and alternative energy, services, food and beverage, infrastructure, technology and communications. Renewable resources and alternative energy. By 2030, Seychelles aspires to boost renewable energy to 15%, with a long-term aim of using 100% of renewable sources. With this ambitious target, the country is exploring a range of options, including solar energy, with enormous potential for the private sector to generate returns while enabling a transition to a low-carbon economy. Services. In 2022, Seychelles became the fastest growing tourism-driven African economy, supported by a remarkable 82% increase in annual number of visitors. Home to endemic Aldabra giant tortoises and to the Coco de Mer, recognised by 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Seychelles lies within one of the 36 biodiversity hotspots of the world, offering unique ecotourism experiences. The country's rich Creole culture is a testimony of multiculturalism that is reflected in local arts and crafts, creating synergies between culture and tourism. Food and beverage. Seychelles heavily relies on the fisheries sector, which accounts for more than 90% of its exports, 20% of its GDP, and 17% of its employment, second only to tourism. To enhance industrial capacity, export volumes and employment opportunities, the country is pursuing sustainable value addition. Infrastructure. The Government of Seychelles seeks partnerships for the development of solar-powered cold storage facilities to address challenges confronting the country's fisheries and agriculture sector. Cold storage investments will also significantly contribute to the Seychelles blue economy ambitions and improve the efficiency of Port Victoria's fishing hub. Technology and communications. Increasing product diversification and traceability is essential to ensure the sustainability of Seychelles' fisheries sector. Digital solutions, such as Fisher's digital marketplace applications, can be leveraged to meet this target. Through such innovations, artisanal and semi-industrial fishers can easily connect with businesses in the tourism and fish processing value chains, and thus benefit from fair prices for their products. Emerging investment opportunities. Emerging investment opportunities with market momentum have favourable and regulatory momentum, but require active private sector engagement to prove a business case. These include sustainable aquaculture production. To boost the food security and fisheries value chain, Seychelles is set to develop a sustainable marine aquaculture sector, which aligns with its economic vision and respects the environment. Waste management. Seychelles must prioritise sustainable waste management practices to minimise the adverse effects on both the natural environment and its population. Currently, over 50% of the waste generated can be harnessed for energy production, presenting a valuable opportunity for resource recovery. By adopting effective waste management strategies, Seychelles can simultaneously address environmental concerns and unlock economic benefits from its waste resources. Waste circularity in hotels. Tourism is the largest economic pillar of Seychelles and contributes significantly to waste production. To align with global sustainability standards, investment in circular waste management or sustainable material management is encouraged. Investment opportunities with policy and regulatory momentum require additional investment in national policies and regulatory frameworks to enable the private sector to meaningfully engage in sustainable development efforts. These include local agriculture production. Seychelles encourages climate-smart farming methods to lessen its reliance on food imports. The agriculture sector is expected to produce 50% of local consumption in 3 years. Semi-industrial commercial fishing. The fisheries sector is worth $400 million in Seychelles, where per capita fish consumption levels are more than twice the global average, thus allowing for significant investments. Digital transformation, business and e-government software solutions. Through investments in ICT, Seychelles can foster local technical innovation and e-business with incentives for startups and existing companies. Digital marketplace for diversifying the export market. Initiatives to develop the digital ecosystem and stimulate the export sector have been initiated by the Government of Seychelles. Digital marketplaces, including brokerage platforms that match the demand for goods and services, are therefore a growing trend in the country. Come to invest in Seychelles. With the SDG Investor Map, be part of our ambition to unlock the nation's economic potential and to maximise the opportunities for growth, while ensuring the preservation of our natural environment and cultural heritage for present and future generations. For further details on how you can partner with the Government of Seychelles, visit the Seychelles Investment Board at investinseychelles.com. For the full market intelligence on SDG investment opportunities, please visit the Seychelles country page on UNDP's Global SDG Investor Platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just watched the launch of this video, the Seychelles Investor Map video. We hope that this video has provided a better understanding of the investment climate and opportunities for investing in Seychelles. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached a very important segment on our program. Our next speaker is our guest of honor, the President of the Republic of Seychelles, Mr. Wavel Ramkalawan. The President is a man of the people and has been ordained as a minister in the Anglican Church. He has also served as a member of the National Assembly for over 20 years. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the President's vision was to create a vibrant economy for Seychelles. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to invite the President to deliver his keynote address and to officially launch the Seychelles SDG Investor Map.
A very good evening to everyone. I was just saying to myself, and I shared that with the VP, after watching such a beautiful video which says everything, why do you need another speech? I should be saying we're launching it, and it's been launched, and therefore let's get on with it. But ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you very much for your presence here, and at the same time for the encouragement that the country is receiving from your support, through your involvement in helping us move further. You see, as a country, we are developing at a very good pace, I must say. And the achievements of this, our beloved country, does not go unnoticed worldwide, even though we are very small. In just 2 years, we have managed to turn around the local economy from the dire effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course, the ongoing Ukraine crisis, a persistent threat to the global economy. All the critical parameters are following a positive trend. Inflation is on the downward trend. Government reserves are continually growing, while economic growth is on a steady rise. And so all these positive signs give us a lot of encouragement. Nonetheless, as a country, we are conscious that challenges abound. And for this very reason, we shall not allow any form of complacency to set in. For should we do so, all our hard work and achievements will simply be washed away. And this is something that we do not want to see happen in this, our beautiful country. As a small island developing state, or as we prefer to call ourselves, a large oceanic state, Seychelles is highly vulnerable to the effects of climate change, to the rise in sea level, and of course, because our high dependency on tourism and imports, we are also susceptible to any downturn in external markets. We have set high standards, and we aspire to even greater gains for our people. In this light, during the coming weeks, we will witness the launching of the National Development Strategy. This strategy will set the scene for the next phase of our development and seeks to build greater resilience in the Seychelles economy. It will establish the direction and the priorities for the country's socio-economic development over the next 5 years, and there can be no slip-up. All our resources will need to be channeled to the right places so that we may optimize and give value to all our assets so that our country and people enjoy even greater success. We do need to acknowledge that funding for the materialization of the goals of the National Development Strategy cannot come solely from the national budget. The partnerships and support we can harness both nationally and internationally will be vital. Importantly, we cannot ignore the capacity and resources of the private sector. And these words are in bold, underlined, and everything else in red. Yes. The private sector has a fundamental role to play if we are to achieve the SDGs and ensure sustainable economic growth and poverty reduction. Let us therefore recognize this valuable partner. Let us create an environment that will allow the private sector the space to operate in order to get its rightful place as the driver of such sustainable economic growth. I wish to emphasize here that this is a fundamental principle of my administration. Government shall be omnipresent as a facilitator to ensure that the private sector is not unnecessarily hindered in seizing all opportunities and bringing about the economic gains which eventually will be shared across the economy and among the people. An essential part of the National Development Strategy looks to also address the Sustainable Development Goals, of course, so that we have inclusive growth and prosperity in the country. Traditionally, we may have seen the responsibilities for addressing such matters as poverty alleviation, elimination of hunger, provision of decent jobs, adaptation to and mitigation against climate change, amongst others, as solely a function of the public sector. This should not be seen as the case. We have to move, and we have to move in a very aggressive manner. I am therefore pleased that we are here today to witness the launch of the SDG Investor Map, a tool that provides a concrete opportunity to dispel such perceptions. The SDG Investor Map explores how various sustainability challenges can be translated into investment opportunities across the country and lays out a compendium of investment opportunities that have been assessed for economic viability, appropriate regulatory frameworks, market momentum, thus giving to the private sector extensive information which they would normally have to seek or assess before taking the investment decisions. I have no doubt that this will create substantial interest amongst the private sector, and soon enough we may have the template for greater participation of such a partner in the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. And as we all know, Seychelles is already doing very well in the progress towards the SDGs. At this juncture, though, we do have to take cognizance of the ability and ease with which one may venture into a business locally. I do acknowledge the effort being done to improve the ease of doing business led by the Ministry of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry under the capable leadership of Minister Devika Vidot. I believe we are on the right track, and with continued commitment we will get to where we want to be. I wish to take the opportunity to thank the UNDP, and especially our sister, Ms. Amanda Serum Maga, the resident representative of the UNDP. I know the effort that you and your team have put into this program, how you've helped us, how you've guided us, And with your wisdom, we are here today. And we are proud to be among the first African nations to embark on this venture. You have provided us the opportunity through the technical assistance in developing this roadmap to fit our needs. It is so very much appreciated. We now move towards the implementation of this tool. The Ministry of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry has been bestowed with the responsibility for the oversight of the implementation and updating of the investment map. To maintain the momentum, I expect the Cabinet to be regularly updated on the progress made, and I will be only too happy to offer further support and guidance where needed. So rest assured, and I want again here to confirm to our partners that government is fully supportive, and this is at the highest level. The Investor Map is obviously meant to be a dynamic instrument that should be able to integrate new issues and opportunities that may arise over time. I will therefore also expect the formalization of a clear structure for the engagement and involvement of the private sector so that they continue to contribute in the implementation and evolution of the map. I realize that financing is one of the critical factors that could determine the success of this initiative. In this light, I commend the initiative to co-opt the local financing institutions to create the awareness, seek the input from, and prepare these institutions to welcome potential private investors. There has to be a collaborative approach, and it is pleasing to see that this has been the case from the beginning. I simply urge all involved that we keep this spirit all along in the implementation and updating, as well as in the successes and challenges we may face. It is only by upholding one another as committed partners that our people will see and enjoy the real success of the SDG Investor Map. It now gives me great pleasure to launch the Seychelles SDG Investor Map, and I wish everyone, especially the private sector, all the success in the implementation. Once again, thank you very much for all your support, and let's do it together as a team for our beloved country, the Seychelles. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, take the on stage. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Okay. I would like to call on stage the UNDP regional representative, Ms. Amanda Serumaga, and also the Minister, Del Cabello, to also come on stage. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the President will now symbolically cut the ribbon to officially launch the Seychelles SDG Investor Map. Round of applause for the President, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Please do remain on stage, as well as Ms. Serumaga and the Minister.
I want to see what's in the box.
Ms. Serumaga, please do us the honor to hand over copies of the SDG map, investor map, to the President and to the Minister.
PP.
Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now nearing the end of our program. Our last speaker, the Principal Secretary for Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, Mr. Michael Naritambi, will now deliver the vote of thanks. Mr. Naritambi's vision is to create a business and investment environment where the dreams, visions, and ambitions of those who want to start a business can be materialized. P.S. Naritambi, the floor is yours.
President of the Republic of Seychelles, Mr. Wavel Ramkalawan, Vice President of the Republic of Seychelles, Mr. Ahmed Afif, Minister for Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, Mrs. Devika Bilot, Ministers, UNDP representative for Mauritius and Seychelles, Ms. Amanda Segumaga, Leader of Government Business in the National Assembly, Mr. Bernard George, Excellencies, representatives of international organizations, members of the Advisory Committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all. No one who achieves success does so without the help of others. The wise and confident acknowledge the help with gratitude. It is my singular honor and privilege to be the one conveying the vote of thanks on behalf of Minister Devika Bilot, the Ministry of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, and the Seychelles Investment Board. I get sorry, the eyes are not good, so I move away. I get to express the gratitude that we feel for the support we have received on this journey. I do hope I do justice to the assignment. We are indeed proud to be launching this evening an important tool which not only provides guidance towards potential investment opportunities, but it also provides a real platform for public and private sector engagement. It allows government an avenue to leverage private sector resources to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals, elevate the people's standard of living, whilst the investor generates attractive returns. With this brief list of potential benefits of the SDG Investor Map, the basis of the pride we feel this evening is quite clear. We do acknowledge, though, that the Ministry did not achieve such a milestone on its own. There have been many people and organizations involved, and we cannot end this auspicious ceremony without expressing our sincere and heartfelt gratitude to every one of you. The contributions have been many and all invaluable, and I struggle to decide where to begin and how to keep it short. Let me, however, start by thanking the United Nations Development Programme, Ms. Amanda Segumaga and her team, who planted the seed of this initiative back in December 2021. You did not only plant the seed, but also nurtured it all along, providing necessary financial, technical, and logistical support in actually developing the SDG Investor Map. Thank you, Mr. Maga, and your team. We are extremely grateful. Do also convey our gratitude to the UNDP fraternity. Albeit I am conveying this message of gratitude also on behalf of Minister David Kalifot, I would also like to I would not do justice to the whole process if I do not also acknowledge the receptiveness of the Minister for taking on this opportunity and for the energy she put in, ensuring it did not go cold, to even deep dive into the process and engage various potential partners to ensure the stakeholders were involved and kept apprised of the progress. Many of the stakeholders are here this evening and can vouch for this. Thank you, Minister. Along the process, we obtained invaluable input and guidance from an advisory committee comprised of representatives from the private sector, civil society, and the public sector. Your commitment and honest contributions have been enriching and well appreciated. I hope you are equally proud of this important instrument, the fruit of your labor. The contributions were not limited to the advisory committee, but also individual consultations and focus group meetings from various sectors, including the fisheries and financial sectors, to name a couple. There, we received inestimable insights, which also shaped the investor map. Whilst I may not mention every single individual or group involved in those meetings, we have sincerely appreciated every single contribution. To everyone who responded to our call and engaged with us, we say thank you. It was inevitable that we would need to take the results of this collaboration and effort to the head of state and the Cabinet of Ministers. There, whilst we received pleasing accolades, it did not just sail through, but were given substantial level of scrutiny and also additional input. Some of these may not feature in this version of the map, but will do so in the forthcoming updates, as this is a living document. The Cabinet of Ministers even went on to provide additional material that would also feed other investment promotional tools, which will be taken up by the SIB. We are therefore also thankful to you, Mr. President, the Vice President, and Ministers for your support, guidance, expectations, and encouragement, which did help fuel our resolve to see this through. Finally, we have this important tool, instrument, the Seychelles SDG Investor Map, which we have launched this evening. It would be unfair for me at this point not to make mention of those who have also been involved in various capacities behind the scenes, my dear colleagues from the Ministry and SIB, the technical teams that engaged in the consultations or produced the print and digital media, and everyone involved in organizing this evening's event. Every little bit counted, and you are all appreciated. In concluding, I would like to note that today is but a milestone. The implementation will always be more important than the preparation of the map, as it is that part that will produce the outcomes and deliver the impacts. At this point, we have merely packed our bags. The real journey is only yet to begin. Therefore, I would like to say again to all our partners, and as well as colleagues, thank you, but in advance, as we look forward to further contribution in the next and real phase of this process. On our part, we shall immediately engage in plans for the operationalization of the investor map, promotion of the opportunities, investor convening, and so forth. The relationship and structures we have built along the way cannot be done away with. Not anytime soon. Let us materialize what we have worked so hard for over the last 2 years. Finally, there is one omnipresent being who has been there silently all the way and carried us all along. For this, I say thank you deeply to the Almighty God. May He continue to bless our beloved Seychelles. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, PS Nagitambi, for reminding us of the different actors who have played a central and peripheral role in the development of the Seychelles Investor Map and commitment in the operationalization of the Investor Map. Ladies and gentlemen, sadly, we have come to the end of our program. It has been a real pleasure to have all of you with us today to witness the launching of the Seychelles SDG Investor Map. We hope that the map plays a key role in providing investors with the right tools to be able to successfully invest in Seychelles. An immense thanks goes to the President. Thank you, Mr. President, for being present here today. And of course, our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our program. Please do remain seated as we allow firstly the President and the Cabinet of Ministers to exit for a group photo.